Yo, how's it going everybody? You got Sketch here and welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year everybody. On this episode we're looking at one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games and the direct sequel to Soldier Blade on the Turbo-Grafx 16. We're checking out Star Soldier, Vanishing Earth, developed by Hudson Soft and published by Electro Brain, released to the Nintendo 64 in 1998. The Star Soldier series has been around for a long time, starting in 1986 with its NES debut, and there will be 7 mainline games and 3 spin-offs including a cave crossover with the Dodonpachi series. Sega would also release an arcade version of Vanishing Earth that same year, but we'll be focusing on the Nintendo 64 version today. In the year 2092, the Zeograd have become a threat to humanity, and in response, the Earth sends in the SIA, better known as the Special Interception Air Force, launching a counterattack with the F-92 Soldier Blade spacecraft to defeat their Duos core. For a moment, peace was restored. 6 years later, the Zeograd will launch their second attack with the Soldier Blade Black Box. 3 new fighters are designed and built as part of the F-98 series. These new crafts are the planet's only hope at defeating the Zeograd once again. Gameplay-wise, you've got a 3D vertical shoot 'em up with 7 levels of non-stop action as you try to rack up as many points as you can while trying not to get shot down. You can choose from 3 crafts, each with unique shot patterns, flight speeds, and roll capabilities. Upon flying in, you're immediately met with waves of enemies to dispatch to get to that stage's main boss. The best way to get points here is stacking up combos with consecutive downs, and the higher you can chain them, the bigger the bonus. You'll have 3 weapon levels for each ship, making your shots stronger with each full level, which is broken up into thirds. Crafts are pretty disgusting once fully powered up and will fire barrages that will smoke enemies with the quickness. Each craft also has unique bombs and 2 special attacks that will put in work against the Zeograd Empire. The right shoulder will be each ship's Make a Crush bomb, laying down sustained damage on whatever's in front of it, and the Z trigger will use your EX attacks will be sustained beams or missile barrages, depending on what craft you're piloting. Another way to stack points is by using the roll system, which will activate a temporary shield that will bounce back enemy bullets, and this admittedly took him a second to understand, but once it clicks, it quickly becomes one of your best offensive and defensive maneuvers. The roll activates by hitting left and right on the D-pad or the left shoulder button, and when it kicks on, will have your ship bounce back most enemy projectiles. Upgrade icons for bombs and shot levels will float down the screen every so often, and these will keep you moving towards high scores and prepare for those boss encounters. You'll see a variety of enemies from grunts to massive crafts, and one hit is all it takes for you to lose a stock. As a counter, you can get extends for extra lives through numerous bonuses you can get on each stage, so you've got the odds on your side. Speaking of bonuses, there are hidden paths on levels 2 through 4, and these will activate by shooting specific enemy formations on the ground and in the air. The secret stage paths are pretty sick when you get to them, and stage 4 in particular sends you through a time warp to have you play the first stage of the original Star Soldier, which is rad to see in 3D. Boss fights are going to be challenging, and having a grasp of your ship's abilities will make these easier to manage. Using the roll and keeping your weapon levels dialed will help in making these boss fights go down quickly, as they will be throwing everything at you. Each encounter gets more hectic than the last, and by the time you get to the final battle, it will have multiple phases. If you can save your special weapons, you'll get more bonus points at the end of each stage, which will be added to your combo count, number of lives, enemy and boss maximum hit chains. As mentioned before, your craft can only take 1 hit before losing a stock, but you do immediately respawn with a decreased weapon level. But if you keep getting smoked, your weapons can drop quickly, but upgrades usually drop on most respawns, so the game is forgiving in that regard. If you lose all of your stocks, you can continue from the beginning of the stage and lose your score, so it's fair despite not having checkpoints on each stage. Graphics wise, Star Soldier Vanishing Earth is a solid looking shoot 'em up that resembles early 3D treasure shoot 'em ups like Radiant Silvergun, and has similar archetypes to games like Chaos Field with a roll mechanic. For being one of the few shoot 'em ups on the Nintendo 64, it's no slouch when it comes to the visuals. With its 11 possible stages, you get some 6 cinematic camera sweeps and dynamically detailed stages as you battle the Zeograd Empire. Each stage area often has 2 planes of enemies, and the ground-based enemies can be tricky to deal with since not all of them take damage. Stages do have a lot of detail, several with interactive elements like the anti-air cannons, bay doors, and towers. The level of detail is impressive for the system, and the N64 version visuals are what were becoming standard to see in arcades in the late 90s. The game also moves at a steady clip and rarely shows signs of slowdown. Even when the screen is full of enemies and bullets, it never really hits heavy slowdown, which is nice considering that even some 3D shooters of the era did buckle under stress during this time. Enemy variety is decent, though you will see some of them several times. New enemies are introduced on every stage, but eventually you'll see every enemy multiple times by the latter stages. You do get some pretty well designed enemies and encounters, along with some secret formations to enter the hidden stages, and these are awesome. The hidden stages will at times have new enemies, and these are also pretty sick, especially with the Reminisce level that takes it back to Star Soldier 1. Bullets are mostly high vis and sort of hard to miss when they're coming at you. There's a variety of projectiles you'll see on each run, and with the roll mechanic, if you're timing it right, you can bounce back most of them right back where they came from. There's a good bit of visual feedback when shots are coming at you and when your shots are connecting with enemies. Bosses are sick with the mechanical menace of the Zeograd, and many of them are absolute mammoths in size. Even the first boss encounter is several times bigger than your craft by comparison, and they only get crazier from there. You get some imaginative imaginative designs, and once the boss core is exposed, you can finish them off with a well-timed laser barrage. Each boss is huge with an array of firepower they will throw at you, and this will ignite the screen at times. Bigger bosses come with bigger explosions once you defeat them and move on to that next mission. The final boss is a multi-phase encounter that will step into bullet hell territory, and this will have some difficulty spikes that will gradually ramp up before going all out. The visual filters here are also pretty well in addition to the encounter itself, so you're getting pretty equal parts form and function here. Sound-wise, Star Soldier Vanishing Earth is awesome with its high-energy soundtrack and punchy audio alongside. Ichiro Shimakura is composer and hits some heavy notes here. The tunes stay hyped from the jump, not letting up until the last encounter ends, and the tunes here will certainly have you grooving on your mission, and the hidden stage tunes straight up cook. The soundtrack is a lot of fun with hints of your favorite soundtracks, sprinkled in some tasty bass lines and synth riffs. Sound effects are solid with some good gunfire audio and small to seismic level explosions. Shot audio has some dope effects work across each craft and enemy, and you'll hear a bit of everything from kinetic to laser fire, all with some proper punch to them. Using your EX weapons also have unique sound bites, and these are pretty sick alongside having your crush bombs. You also get voice narration from bosses and during the game's intro and ending cutscenes. Several of the boss encounters also have vocal intros, so there's a fair amount of voice lines here during the game. Voice audio is clean with the vocals, and it has some robotic filters when battling the boss characters. The Nintendo 64 could push some audio despite still being on cartridges, and this is a solid example of that. Star Soldier Vanishing Earth is a good shoot 'em up for the Nintendo 64, and one of the few on the system. Coming from developer Hudson, it's no question it wouldn't be a quality release, and while doing the research on this project, apparently IGN slammed this back in the day when it was new, which really undersold the game. Considering the 64 didn't have many games like this, it's honestly far from bad. And the action stays dialed, and the experience is for the most part balanced with 3 difficulties to choose from. It maintains the feel of their previous entries in the franchise, and it's now all in 3D. Soldier Blade is still my favorite in the series, but the sequel is up there and pretty tight with multiple ships, paths, and game modes giving you a decent assortment of digests. Considering each run takes about 40 minutes for its main mode, you get some options with the hidden paths and different crafts to pilot. It's also a fun shoot 'em up for the system, so however you slice it, it's certainly worth a look. Star Soldier Vanishing Earth gets an 8 out of 10 and comes highly recommended to shoot 'em up fans and caravan style shooter fans considering the franchise lineage. It's challenging if you're going for high score and 1cc runs, but it's not brutally difficult if you just want to casually play through the game. It's well balanced as far as its gameplay and welcoming to players of any skill level, while having a solid backbone to universally appreciate. It's becoming a moderately priced pickup on the Western release, currently going for $63 loose and around $240 for complete copies. The Japanese version is a bit cheaper, going for $34 for loose copies and about $85 for complete copies. As an N64 exclusive shooter, it's something that should be in the collection since it's one of the few on the system, while arguably being one of the best in the catalog. If you're into shoot 'em ups or more obscure N64 games, play this one however you can. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching, and if you find this video helpful, that's awesome, glad you use it as a resource. Check back often when I have more reviews and commentaries come up in the near future. But until then, take it easy and stay safe out there. I'll see you on the next one.